and who I am about to bring to this stage. Give me 1 second here. The person coming up next is someone very special to me. Someone who is going to blow your mind. Someone who has blown my mind. He has been a secret sauce to so much of my success in life. This is a man who entered my life by such grand manifestation on both sides. This is my husband that I'm talking about. When we entered each other's lives, with nothing. With nothing. And today we stand here with everything. And with so much more to come, baby, with so much more to come. So I'm honored to welcome to the stage my husband. You guys are going to step into my world for the next 20, 30 minutes. You guys ramp it up. Give me some yeses. Give some love. Let me spotlight my husband. And let me unmute you. That would help. All right. Hello.
Wow. Thank you. This is new for us. We've never done this before, so I'm a little nervous, but it'll be fun. It'll be good.
You guys, this is our now we do this behind closed doors a lot. We talk about the powers of being creators and the laws of attraction, laws of the universe, and we are making things happen, but we usually keep this private. Right, this is something that we have behind closed doors. We speak to just our intimate setting with, but together collectively, we've never went public like this. So I think we both are a little nervous, but it's time. It is time to make this happen. So, honey, I'm going to give you the stage here, and if you can go right into just thinking of all the lovely souls that are here with us today. What was your relationship? Sorry. Motorcycle passing. What was your relationship with money? And then we're going to go into that pivotal moment of how the flow of money changed in your life and what were some of those events.
Right. So, can you hear me okay? So, money was not really a good topic for me early on in my life. Like, it was this taboo thing that I wanted to avoid. And you remember this. I mean, it was like whenever we talked about it, it would bring all these emotions out of me that I didn't really want to face. So it made it like this dangerous thing. If you think about it, money is like this dangerous item to be handled carefully. And it's like fire, right? Fire is handled carefully, and it could benefit you if you use it correctly. You know, you can cook your food with it, or you can burn your house down with it. And it's the same with money. Money can benefit you or it can hurt you. And it's the reason why we don't really let kids handle money. I mean, when I was a kid, I didn't get money. You know, we got a quarter or something, we got $1, we got $10 if we were lucky. But it was this really, kind of dangerous thing. And so therefore, it was precious. Like, to me, money was precious because we all needed it, and therefore we wanted it, but there was never enough of it. Right? It was always we need more money. And so it's this very precious thing. And when it came in, it was like this drug, right? Money's like this drug where when you get it, you get high, you feel good, you feel secure, you feel like it's okay, but then as soon as it goes away, that high goes away too. And I remember when I was a kid, in my house, when my dad got paid, paydays were always the high day. Everyone in the house is happy. It's like, we're gonna get pizza. We're gonna, it's just a good feeling. It's like, a secure feeling that for now, everything's okay. But then the next day or the day after, that would go away. And so it's like having those experiences made me really frugal. And you remember this very well. When I did spend money, I would research the heck out of it. I would try to find, am I sure I want this thing? And once I find that thing, I'm like, I gotta spend all this time researching that everyone else likes it, and this is the best deal, and I'm making the right decision. And then when I did spend the money, I would try to get as much as I could. I guess it's called value, right? We try to get as much value out of it as I could. And so my early relationship with money was not a happy one.
Yeah. You guys, he was very frugal. And so was I. I mean, I'm calling the, pot black or whatever the term is. We were together. It was an explosion of us having all of our programs of scarcity come out together because we were really pinching pennies, and then we had money was the root of all evil, right? There was a lot of that happening. So we were trying to think of how we're going to live off the grid and make everything ourselves. And it just, money was just so taboo. It was such this bad thing. And wow, do we stand in such a different place with money, and our relationship with money is so different. Hun, what was that pivot point? I know there was many, but
Well,
what was one?
let me tell you, because I know this is everyone relate to this. Let me tell you how I developed that early relationship with money, because I know it's going to be similar, if not the same, for everyone. And it had to do with the experiences I had growing up. You know, I remember when I was younger, my dad, he was taking myself and my little sister Jennifer to school, and he used to drive this brown Nissan Stanza. I think it was like a late 80s, and it had this white pinstripe down the side, and it was like this square car. And we were taking her to school first. She went to Mary Hill Country School. This was in Stockton, California, where I'm from. And we're going to Mary Hill, and right when we get up to drop her off, he pulls out, he says, "Hun, I've got a surprise for you." And she's like, "What?" He pulls out what had to be the shiniest 50-cent piece I've ever seen. Like it was dropped down from the gods or something. And her eyes just lit up. And because when my sister was younger, she used to love saving money. She used to have this Hello Kitty box, right, where she would put all her money in it and save it. And for her, it wasn't just about saving money. She used to like collecting money. And so she would, sorry, she would think of, collecting coins and think of collecting all these different types of money. And so when my dad put out this 50-cent piece, she just lit up. And so she got out the car, and it was like this good feeling for all of us. We started the day feeling good. And then little did I know what I was getting into when he came to pick me up at the end of school. So I got into the car, and he says, "Son, hurry up, we got to go." And I was like, there was like this heavy blanket of just concern. And I was like, "Dad, what's going on?" He says, "Son, we don't have enough gas to get your sister, and I don't have any money." And I was like, "What do we do?" He said, "I don't know. We're just going to go." And so I sat there and I watched him, and he went from concern to worry. And I could just see the worry building in him. He's rocking. And then I saw him go from worry into just full-blown fear. Like he's afraid. He doesn't know what to do. We're going to get stranded. We're not going to pick her up. This was before cell phones, before Uber. This was back in the 90s, early 90s, I think. And he then went from fear into anger. He's starting to grip the steering wheel, and he's grinding his teeth. And he starts talking out loud. I don't know if he's talking to me or he's talking to the windshield. And then he goes into blame. Why is this happening to me? Why this isn't fair. And then all of a sudden the energy shifted from anger and blame into hope, because he all of a sudden realized he gave my little sister that 50-cent piece. And it was like all the energy just shifted. Like, it's okay, we're gonna be saved, relax, we weren't saying this, it was just this energetic thing. It's gonna be okay, we're gonna make it home, it's all gonna be fine. And then once again, the energy shifted from hope into sadness, because my dad suddenly realized it's going to destroy her to give him that coin back, because she really wanted a 50-cent coin for so long. So I watched him go from sadness into shame. He was ashamed of himself. And from that point, it was just kind of the energy dropped. And so little did my sister know, when we got to her school, we didn't make it. Little did she know what she was getting into. So she gets in the car, and she's sitting there, and she's in a good mood. And my dad says, "Honey, we have a problem. I'm really sorry, but I'm going to need that 50 cents back." And she says, "What? Why?" "Honey, we don't have any gas. I don't know if we're going to make it home." And she's just like, "What are you talking about? This is mine. You gave this to me." And he's like, "I know, honey, I'm sorry." And she just goes into tears. And I saw my dad get destroyed emotionally from having to ask her for that money back, 50 cents. And then I saw her get destroyed for having to give it back. And so we end up making it to the gas station. And he hands me the coin, son, go put this in. And I remember this being like a walk of shame for me. Like, I'm just a kid and I'm walking towards the cashier or inside the store, and I just feel ashamed. I'm like, 50 cents. I didn't know any better, but I still had thoughts, 50 cents, that's not enough. I was embarrassed to even ask. So I go up to the guy and I'm like, can we put this in number 3 or whatever? And he's like, 50 cents. Are you sure? And I was thinking, yeah, that's all we've got. He said, I don't think we can do 50 cents, or it was something like this. This was a long time ago. And I just said, that's all we've got. And I go back, we pump the gas, and I just remember thinking, I was so mad at my dad. I was so angry at him. Like, you're not supposed to let this happen. This is not right. And I didn't understand it, but that's just how I felt. And now I'm not upset. I understand that my dad did the best he could. I have no ill feelings towards that at all. I love my dad, and he did his best. But it was experiences like that created my relationship with money, my views, and my emotional attachment to the whole topic of money was based on things like that.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, honey. That was deep. Oh, I could feel it, and I feel us all, reflecting and bringing up and reminiscing those moments where we've seen or experienced moments like that in our life. So it's moments like that you went through that created where you and I met, like our whole life and relationship up to that point was our past. And then you had this big awakening. You had this shift where all of that past was not dominant anymore, and you moved forward and created a new relationship with money. Can you speak into how your relationship is now with money and your life now? It just complete contrast here.
So, making money was never a goal of mine, right? Throughout most of my life. I wanted it, of course, because I needed it. I felt bad that I didn't have it, but it was never a goal. I never said, I'm going to make money. I was more into like personal development. So I would, this, I would just I would read books. I would watch documentaries. I wanted to know the truth behind life and who I was and what this is all about, but never about money. And so, as I said, I'd read a lot of books, and it wasn't until I read this book that many of you might know, but if you've never heard of it, called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It was that book that really started introducing the whole topic of money into my mind. And as I pursued that, I read the book, many times since then, but in the beginning, I read it a few times, excuse me. And so it was that book that really introduced into my mind, or I should say into my being, the desire for money, not because I need it, but because I want it. And so as I pursued that momentum towards that direction of thinking, I started building this, I started believing it was possible for me to get it. I wasn't getting it yet, but I was believing that it was possible. And so, it wasn't until I just decided that I'm going to make money. I remember I made a decision that I'm going to make money. I didn't know how, but I made a decision that I'm going to start doing it. And so it started, I'll share the personal, information behind our lives. It started for me when we had our first son, and we were discussing who's going to take care of him because we're both working. And we decided that I was going to stay home. I was going to be a stay-at-home dad, and that I would leave my job because I'm making the least amount of money and so forth. It just made sense to do it. And so I vowed when I left that job, as you know, that I would never get another job, never, under any circumstance. And there's nothing wrong with getting a job. And it's just, at that time, it felt like I had to make that decision. I had to turn my back on that to be able to move in the direction I wanted to go, because I knew that the job I had was not going to give me money in the way that I wanted it or in the amount that I wanted it. And so it was in making that decision that it really started for me. And there were times where you and I, we would check the check and we struggled, and we had $20 in the bank where we had to make it last for 2 weeks. And there were times where we were late, at night thinking maybe I should just get a job. I remember thinking I'll just get a job at a gas station. Yeah. And I really thought that, and that was fear talking. And so it was you that said, no, you're not going to do that. We're going to do this. We're going to stick through this. And I was like, okay, we're going to do it. And so I spent a year just taking care of Solon, our oldest son, and just kind of getting out of the grind mindset that having daily hustle does to you, and just opening myself up to creativity. And in doing so, I started like bringing in different like opportunities, right? And so I suddenly started thinking, I got to start a business, so I got to do something. And I began on that path. I'm going to do something to make money, right? Not a job, but I don't know what it is, but it's not a job. It's some kind of business, I guess. I didn't really understand, but I just went with it. And I made probably the rookie mistake that everyone makes, is thinking that you're going to get rich overnight. And so I sure enough did. I just took whatever was coming at me. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm going to do that. And I got to get into this. And I was trying to do all these things because I thought that's what an entrepreneur does. And when things didn't start panning out, when I was spending money, but I wasn't making money, I started to become doubtful, and I started to become afraid, and I started to feel like a fool, and I started to feel all these emotions again. And I realized that I should say I later realized, in retrospect or in hindsight, I understand now where I made the mistake, is that I know now that I have to focus on one thing. I have to choose one thing and stick with it, see it all the way through. And at the time I wasn't doing that. I was getting into something, getting out of it, backing in, and that's why I wasn't going anywhere. And it wasn't until I decided to stick with one thing and I saw it through for a few years. And that's where everything changed for me. That's where my whole relationship with money began to transform. And you know, when you do have a business and you are making money, I should say the business is making revenue, there's money that comes in and money that goes out. Lots of money comes in, lots of money goes out. And so I was exchanging money in a rate and in an amount that I've never had before. I had to overcome programs really quickly. I had to overcome that spending program, right, where I was afraid to spend money. I had to overcome that because I have to spend the money. You know, you have to spend, there are business expenses. And so in doing that, I was able to overcome a lot. And in a few short years, I mean, I went from, I remember, what was the last car I was driving? It was like a used 92 Honda Civic or something that had many previous owners. I bought for like $2,000. And then I'm happy to say that, you know, after I finally transformed my relationship with money, the first brand new car I ever bought off the dealership was a $100,000 car. And I couldn't even, I mean, this is coming from a guy that couldn't even get a loan. I didn't even have credit a few years prior to that. I could not even, I mean, I couldn't get a loan. And then, you know, the first house I ever bought, $500,000 house. And, you know, it was powerful. The money shift was the shift of my money programs and my relationship with it was powerful. And so I got to say, it all started with me desiring, but not just wanting money for the sake because I need it, but wanting it because I wanted a better life. And then the decision that I was going to do something to get it, that's what really was the pivot point for me. If that answers, did I answer that question?
Yes, you did. And what's going through my mind is it's right aligned with every talk here before today. It's finding the alignment to money or the things you're wanting to do. You made a firm decision and you married it. You committed to it, right? So the universe, I believe, is always testing us, saying, are you sure? Are you sure? You know, it's going to continually present opportunities and things that's either to what your attention is, right? So if we're not firm, if we're not decided, like you decided, I want money, I want a better life, this is what I want, right? But it'll keep conspiring and bringing things in. But if you go squirrel and you go that way, and like you said, I was into many different things, and a lot of us do that as entrepreneurs or people. We go for a little bit of time and then we don't see a result, and so we stop, and a lot of that doubt and that fear comes in, so we try to start something else, right? And who give me a yes if that's like a part of your patterns in life, right? It's like it just keeps coming up. I keep trying, 2 weeks later, nothing's there, it must be this, and we keep jumping and hopping around. But it really takes, and Russ was also saying this, it takes consistency. The consistency is what you've spoken to as well. But it's not just anything, you guys. we're big energetic people here. We're talking about first aligning, right? Aligning with your heart's desire, feeling as good as you can and going after that thing that you want. My husband did not want to do a job. He didn't want to work for someone else anymore. So he decided what he wanted to do, right? And that's what he started to go after. And now it's here, you guys. I'm telling you, here today, we are in that abundance. We are feeling the flow of what we are all designed to do. I can keep going, but Han, did you have something you want to speak into the audience about? You know, you've been seeing these limitations coming up. Are you resonating with something? Is something coming to you that you want to help someone?
So, yeah, you know, I know that a big question of this entire show is about what's stopping money from coming into people's lives, right? Because that's important. That's like the big question. What's stopping it? And my take on that is, let's not look at it as just money, because whatever's stopping money from coming into your life is the same thing that's stopping everything else that you want from coming into your life, not just money. And so what is that thing? If you think about it, well, just imagine with me that at the core of you, at the very core of you, you've got a belief, right? You have a single belief that encompasses all beliefs. And this belief can go one of two ways. This belief could be that you believe in abundance or you believe in scarcity. And let's say that somewhere in between your core belief lives there. And the closer that I should say that wherever your core belief lives within those two sides of the spectrum is what you're going to experience. So if you have a core belief that when you look out in the world, you see abundance, there's an abundance of everything for everyone, you're going to create that. That's what you're going to experience. But if you look out into the world and you see that there's scarcity, there's lack, there's not enough, there's limitation, there's not enough for everyone, then that's pretty much going to be what you experience. And so the question then becomes, how do you increase the abundance of your core belief? How do you get more belief in abundance? And so, you know, we're all at different parts of that spectrum, myself included, all of us. We're all at different stages. And so I can't get anyone to this side right now, but we could do a little exercise here that I can help bring people in that direction. It's a good start. If you want to do this, we could do it right now.
Yes, surprise me. Come on.
So the first thing to do is be aware of what's abundant around you right now. So I'm sitting in a room, right? I'm sitting in a room. Where are you guys sitting? Where are you sitting? Are you in a room? Are you in a kitchen? Are you in an office? Are you at the grocery store? I don't know. Where are you? Wherever you are in the world, no matter where you are in the world, there's something around each and every one of us that's completely saturating the entire space around us. It's everywhere. And it's been with us since the day we were born, and it's going to be with us until the day we die, and we can't get rid of it. You guys know what I'm talking about? Air, oxygen. I mean, I'm breathing it in. I could take as many breaths as I can, as fast as I can, and I'll never, ever use it all. There's so much of it that we'll all use as much as we want, but it'll still be in abundance forever. And think about, I don't know where you are in the world, but go outside and look into the sky. Well, I see it right now. There's an abundance of blue. As far as I can see, there's blue everywhere. It's just everywhere. Go to the beach. Look at the ground. There's an abundance of sand. You can't count out all that sand. There's just so much of it. Look at the ocean. Imagine if you were to individualize each drop of water in the ocean. You could never count all that. There's just so much of it. There's an abundance of everything for everyone, everywhere. And the closer we can bring our core belief, our core vibration towards that abundance way of thinking, the more we're going to experience it. So the question then becomes, well, how do we tie money into this? So this is where I'm going to ask you guys to stretch a little bit with me and to play along and just let go, suspend belief, and just play and be free with this and let it go. You guys want to do this with me?
Come on, let's go.
It might be a little bit of a stretch, but let's do this. So imagine that you've got this duffel bag, and this is a huge duffel bag. You could fit 2 dead bodies in it if you were like a mobster or something. And you go into a forest, and this forest is just massive. miles and miles and miles of trees. You could walk for the rest of your life. You'll never get out of the forest. And there's just trees everywhere. There's an abundance of trees. On these trees, there's an abundance of leaves, just endless leaves, green leaves everywhere. And so you start grabbing, filling your duffel bag full of leaves. You're just filling and picking leaves up off the ground. You're walking through all these trees and you're just grabbing leaves everywhere. And you fill the bag full after a while. And the bag's so full that it's so heavy you can't even pick it up. And so you start trying to zip it closed. You zip it, and you finally got it closed. And then you look up and you look around and you realize there's still an abundance of leaves everywhere. Like you can't even tell I took them. There's so many, they're everywhere. And I didn't even make a dent, right? Now, this is where we stretch. Go empty that bag. Remember, it's a huge bag. You fit 2 dead guys in there. If you're a mobster or something. You go back into that forest. There's an abundance of trees for miles and miles. You can't even see the end of it. There's just so many trees. But instead of leaves on those branches, there's $100 bills. And then you grab your duffel bag and you just start grabbing $100 bills by the handfuls, like a free for all. You're going crazy. You're slapping yourself with money, and you're stuffing your duffel bag, and it's so full that you pick it up. You can't even pick it up, and then you start trying to zip it closed. You zip it closed, and then you get it closed, and you look up, and you're like, "Wow, there's still so much money out here. I didn't even make a dent." But you look at your bag and it's full of money, and you're like, I could never, ever, ever in 100 lifetimes use or need all this money. I've got enough here to live the rest of my life happy. I'm fine. I don't need any more. I'm done with this. The closer we can bring our mindset of money towards that vibration, that view, that outlook, the more, or I should say, the less we care about money. We're not trying to steal it. We don't try to hide it or hoard it. We don't worry about it. We don't fight over it, because I've got a duffel bag full of it, more than I'll ever need for myself and my loved ones. And there's still so much for everyone else. Now, I know that was a little stretch we did. It was imaginary, but if you can bring yourself to believe that that's true in real life, well, here we are, this is real. You can believe that's true, then it can be true. And if you want proof, just look at a guy like Bill Gates. Where do you think he's at in the spectrum? He ain't down here. He's up here. He has full belief in abundance in terms of money and everything else, I imagine. But when you know that there's enough for everyone, you stop fighting over it internally and externally. And therefore, you stop pushing it away from you because you're afraid of it. All those negative emotions are no longer there. It becomes this happy topic, becomes this easy to talk about thing. And so, I imagine that's my time, but
Yeah.
I appreciate us being able to do that. That was fun.
I almost forgot we were here. This is so cool to have.
That rung with somebody, resonated with somebody, but
Absolutely did. Thank you, honey. That was my husband's gift. That was a gift. This stretch, this imagination. That was his gift. Thank you, love you. That was beautiful. Everyone saying yes. Thank you, Chris. Yes, you're getting phenomenal feeds. That was amazing. I hope we all do that duffel bag visualization once a day, and just remember the weight that you've got of it. It's with you. Thank you.
All right.
I'll see you later. All right, you guys.